Hello everyone, welcome back to David at Go To Hobbies. Right, today we're going to fix this leaking Triton shower. What seems to happen is when you turn the power on, it leaks, and I'll show you why. Look down there, we've got a leak, and that's the PDR valve. Right, it's not serious, but it can be easily fixed. And what caused that to go is my wife put a new shower head on. This is the original type of shower head, but what caused it to happen was this. Let me show you. Right, this is what she replaced it with, but unfortunately, if you notice, there's a like restrictor in there, and all that is like a bung. I'll show you what we do. Bear with. Right, let me show you. All it is a bit of rubber with 3 holes in it. That is to restrict the flow. Alright, but the problem with that, it causes a back pressure on your shower. So I've removed it. Okay, so what we did, that shower head there was the original type. Okay, so they replaced it with that one I just showed you, but this one hasn't got a restrictor in the flow, so the water will come round up through without being restricted. If it's restricted like I showed you on the other one, it's going to cause a back pressure, and that back pressure blows a little valve in here, and I'll show you the valve. This is what we're talking about, and all it is like a thin membrane of rubber, and that pressure causes that to pop, and once that's popped, it will continue to leak, and that just fits on there. Alright, I'll show you a bit more in a minute, but before you're messing about with a shower, always turn your main power supply off, and allow me to show you what I'm talking about. This is your shower power supply. We've taken the cord off because we had kids and we didn't want them to pull it, and that's why that's up there, and that is the power supply for your shower. Okay, so to isolate that, you just pull that, but because sometimes they're a bit, what's the name on the roof, you just pull that down. A bit difficult with one hand. You got to watch how these are attached, because roofs are just plasterboard coated with Artex. They're not very strongly screwed in, so just be careful and mindful of that. Okay, so hold the body of this, then pull that, otherwise you'll work it loose in the ceiling. Right, that being turned off, we can go to the next stage. Bear with. Right, as you notice, there's no power light on here, and this is not illuminated. That means the power supply is off to this unit. That power supply to that unit is controlled by that switch. Right, so this is completely safe to touch. It is an easy job to do, but if you're not sure, you can call a plumber in. But me being a DIYer, this is how I get over and fix things. It's just having the confidence and having a go. So how is this secured? This is a face plate, right? You don't need to leave your buttons, your control knobs as they are. You don't have to turn the power off from here. You must isolate it from the control box where I just showed you the pull cord. Right, there's 2 screws, one there, and one underneath just there. They're a Phillips screw, and you need to remove all those 3. So allow me to do that, and I'll show you the next thing, what we do after that. Right, once it's been unscrewed, this cover here will basically just lift off. But be careful, you've got this little LED light in there, right? Well, the trouble is you need to be an octopus, and while I'm operating the camera and doing this, it's not as easy to do it. So let me explain to you what you need to do. That is just a push fit into there. So I'm going to try and work some magic, rest it on my leg and try and do it at the same time as talking to you, but we'll see. Okay, So this, when I get in position, will just pop out of there. All it is, just held in with a couple bits of plastic, and all you do is just pop it back in afterwards. Alright, put that in the bath out of the way. Alright, so that can dangle, we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so what we need to do, a simple thing, focus, undo these two screws, right? Lift this one away and replace it with a new one. So let me do that and I'll show you in a minute. Right, a little tip for you. You've removed your screw and it drops and you think, oh hell. Get yourself one of these. It collects the hair and it stops your screw going down the plug hole. And then it's bye-bye. So do yourself a favour. Get yourself a little strainer to catch your hairs, right? The bottom of the bath. That way, when you do drop your screw, it don't go disappearing. Sorry about that. Right, where were we? Okay, so we remove the other screw. This will allow this just to pull away. So let me do that for you and I'll show you. So, right, we've undone the screw. So we'll just take that out of the way. We'll put that up there, out of the way. And we'll just pull this off. Just a little wiggle. And it should come off. Don't worry about the water. Right, as you can see, let me just dry that a little bit. Let's see if we can get some light on it. See if we can focus. So we can see it's cut or split. Can't really see, but it's probably gone somewhere. Anyway, that's there. All we need to do now is, if you notice how that seal was on there, yeah, what we got to do is put the other one on in its place. So bear with. Right, we're back. So this is the new one, all right, and that's the seal that goes on there. If you notice, there's a bit of a lip, and that lip goes on first onto there. And that just pushes on like that, like that. I'll show you the old one. You see the difference? Just spin out. You can see the difference. I'm trying to get the camera focused. The lips at the bottom, like that, and that's the new one. So all that's going to do is we're going to put that back on where the other one come off of. Right, this, as I'll show you, all it is a little like plastic cup. That's the new one. We just put that on there, lip at the bottom, goes inwards. Right, just push that on there. That's all we need to do, like that, and then swap you around. And we'll see what happens next. Right, so that's where the old one come from, and all we do is we put this back on there like that. That's all we do, just pushes on, nice and easy. Put the screws in, I'll do that up, and we'll be back in a second. We'll put the new one on, and when you're doing it up, do them up just tight, not overdoing it, all right? Just pinch it up, that's all you need to do. Don't need a lot of pressure on it. Right, what we're going to do, we're going to test this. It's very easy, and all we're going to do is show you how we do it. Okay, we'll remove that out of the bath because we don't want that getting soaking wet. So what we'll do is we'll turn the mains power supply on. I'll show you what we do. Is we pull that. Okay, because the shower's already turned off. All right, now let me show you. On here, you see the power button. All right, put that back. That there is the power button. You don't touch any of this. There's 240 running through there and all those bare wires. Don't touch any of that. All right, all you need to do is touch that. All right, that will turn the power supply on. That will turn water coming out of here. All right, it's perfectly safe as long as you're sensible about what you're doing. word of warning, right? You do this at your own risk. I make it quite clear now, you need to get a professional plumber in to do this if you do not feel confident 100%. And because we're dealing with live electricity and I'm competent in what I'm doing, this is why I'm showing you. This is what it takes. You can do it, you can test it, put the whole thing back together, push the button, and you see it won't leak. But I want to show you what's under the cover, what it looks like. All right, so that's facing away and that's facing down. We'll just turn that head a little bit that way. All right, and that button there turns the water supply on. And it's on. All right, water's coming out. No more leak. Because that little plastic seal there had popped because that shower head had a restrictor flow in it, and that caused it. And obviously the LED's on. And all we do is watch what we're doing and we just turn that off like that. But be mindful, you've got water and live electricity. Never shall the two mix. Alright, because it'll just trip out your mains. This job is not to be done with children or distractions around. Okay, so there you are. But before I put the cover back on, I'm going to turn the power supply off again. Up here. And I can do it. That's it, it's off. It's a little sign saying on and off at the back, and obviously that LED illuminates when it's on. Right, so as I was saying, the lights out, right, well, everything else is off and it's dead, so that's isolated. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back into there. All it does, you have it that way, so the wires are this side, because you don't have the wires that side because you've got to know where the wires go. So I'll put that back and show you. Alright, and obviously that little orange thing there corresponds to this here. Alright, so that you know when it's up, when it's like a position, you know it's I'm not sure actually. Let me just quick check that actually. Yeah, it must drop down. I can't remember, but anyway. So we'll put that back. I'll drop everything, but this is the one we replaced it with, and that's what this is what we replaced, and this is what caused it. There's a restrictor of flow in it. You can see the little holes in it. So I just removed that. We can use this head again, but it restricts the flow, which caused the back pressure, which caused the little seal to go on there. That's all that happened. Just caused. But this, I bought from PTS. You could buy it from another plumbing shop. It cost me £12.60, and but it's so much easier if you know what you're doing and easy to do. Any questions, let me know. But as I say, a word of advice, if you're ever mucking about with electricity, always isolate it first. I know what I've shown you is perhaps not the best thing, but you need to see what's behind it and what you're dealing with. Forewarned is forearmed. Triton shower units are very good, very reliable. I've had this on there for quite a few years now. We live in a hard water area, and one thing I did is on the on the water mains coming into the house, I put a it's like a lime scale remover. All it is some iodinium magnets cable tied to the water supply where the stopcock is, and that for one reason or another stops the line build up. I don't know how it works, but it does, and we don't have the problem with the shower, because what tends to happen is when you have a hard water area, lime scale in it, it clogs this all up. This is your heater element, right? And when it gets clogged up, these heating elements at the top, these here, there's 4, 2 for the low, 2 for the high. So when you have it on high, all 4 energized, so it's producing heat. And this is like the thermal cutout there. So if it gets too hot, it cuts out, won't work. Other little bits and pieces and other things. I'm not 100% sure what does what, but I presume this is a pump, this is a regulator, and this is your temperature gauge. So that's to govern your heating elements. In other words, do you want it on low heat, no heat? So in one position to the right, it will be just cold water. One will be 2 or 3 or 1, and then on high heat will be all 4 of them working. So that is what I believe. I fitted this one myself, and if you're going to fit one, another shower unit on the wall, go with what you had there, another Triton, because what happens, all the screws marry up with the same places, all the pipe come through where they are. This here, you can sort of adjust to the right position because it's right where it comes from. Everything marries up, okay? But another little tip is your cable, yeah? You need to know what width or thickness of cable this is, because it's how much kilowatt per hour these can draw. If you have too heavy kilowatt hour, you're drawing too much electricity through your cable. In other words, you shouldn't be doing that. You should have the right kilowatt unit for the rating of the cable that's on the unit. This is a 7.5 kilowatt unit. It's a low energy one. Compared with some, you can get up to about, I think it was 10, 12 kilowatts. But it's only a little family shower, so it does the job. Any other questions or anything, please leave a comment down below. But hopefully you find this video helpful, because that little valve could be a right nightmare. And when it starts trickling out of water, you think to yourself, oh, I got a major job. I first thought it was this being cross-threaded, thread of this cross-threaded. So I took it off, checked it, weren't that. And then I see water come from the inside. I thought, I wonder what's caused that. Done a Google search, found out what it was, and I thought, oh, right. And then I've done a Google search of plumbing shops near me, found PTS Mansfield, and they said, yeah, we got one in stock, £12.60. I thought, bite the bullet and buy it and fit it today, and job done. We can use the shower again. But like everything, you know, it's a case of knowing what you're doing, being careful what you're doing, and always turn the electrics off before you start playing with this sort of thing. As I say, if you're not a confident DIYer, you're not confident in what you're doing, it's best to leave it to the professionals. Me, I've done plumbing, done electrics, timber, carpentry, plastering, tiling, virtually everything in the home. I'm not very good at bricking, but that's a different story. But hopefully the video will help you, and just be careful. Don't mess with electricity. It's always best to get a qualified electrician in if you don't know what you're doing, or a qualified plumber, because at the end of the day, they know what they're doing. Okay? But if you're a competent person at doing DIY, it's easy to do. And that's why I did it. But as I say, and I'll re-emphasise, always use the professionals if you don't know what you're doing. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment down below. Please like, share and subscribe. And thank you. Take care everyone. Bye for now.